there is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. That line didn't come from Carnegie, but from Epictetus, centuries before. Still, it lives inside this book like a gentle whisper through every page. When I first picked up How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, I didn't expect it to speak so directly to the ache I'd been carrying for years. The ache of wondering what will happen next, of fearing mistakes, of drowning in silent scenarios that never came true. And yet, as I read, I felt something loosen in my chest. Because this book doesn't shout. It doesn't lecture. It holds your hand. It tells you stories of people like you and me. And it whispers, you're not alone. And you don't have to live like this. This isn't just a book about letting go of worry. It's a book about choosing life again, about pausing in the middle of the chaos and saying, I want peace. I deserve it, and I can create it. Dale Carnegie, who you might know from How to Win Friends and Influence People, wasn't a psychologist or a monk. He was a man who suffered from worry himself and found through countless interviews and life experiences that most of our fears are just illusions in disguise. He begins by urging us to live in tight compartments, meaning close the door on yesterday. Don't open the one for tomorrow yet. Live in the room called today. It sounds simple, but when we do it, when we stop dragging the weight of regrets and predictions, we suddenly notice how light life can feel. One woman in the book was on the verge of a mental breakdown from anxiety. She healed herself by waking up each morning and saying, just for today I will live. And she did. For days, then months, then years. Carnegie invites us to dissect our worries, not obsess over them, but understand them. He gives a 3-step tool that changed my life. First, ask yourself what you're actually worried about. Spell it out. Give it a name. Second, ask what the worst case scenario is. Really, what's the worst that could happen? Third, once you accept that possibility, ask yourself what you can do to improve the outcome. And in that moment, you shift from helplessness to power. There's a story he tells about a businessman who lost everything, his fortune, his home, even his health. At his lowest point, lying in a hospital bed, he did something radical. He imagined being okay even if he died. And oddly, it brought him peace. That peace helped him recover. He started from zero, but this time without the fear that had haunted him all his life. Carnegie reminds us how deeply worry poisons the body. Doctors back in his time noted that ulcers, heart disease, high blood pressure, they often trace back to unspoken stress. And when I read that, I paused. I thought of all the tension I'd been carrying in my shoulders, my jaw, my belly, all from thoughts that hadn't even come true. So he says, if you want to protect your health, don't just eat better, think better, breathe slower, smile more, relax your muscles, let your body know you're safe. One of my favorite parts of the book is when he talks about the power of action, because sometimes worry grows wild when we're idle. He says if you don't want to worry, get busy, do something, anything, clean a drawer, call a friend, plant a flower, because stillness without direction becomes a breeding ground for fear. But movement makes space for hope. And yet, this book isn't just about distraction. It's about shifting your mindset. He asks us to challenge our thoughts. Are they true? Are they helpful? Are we imagining worst case scenarios because they're likely or just because we're used to doing that? He invites us to build a habit of gratitude, not in a cheesy way, but in the raw, quiet, powerful way of someone who has nothing, yet looks at the sky and whispers, "Thank you." There's a man in the book who lost his eyesight as a child. He could have lived in bitterness. Instead, he decided to be the happiest blind man alive. He learned to play music, to walk with joy, to tell jokes that made others laugh. And he said, "If I can smile in darkness, what's stopping you in the light?" And that line, it stayed with me. Carnegie also spends time helping us understand human behavior. He says many of our worries come from misunderstanding others. We assume people hate us, are judging us, ignoring us, when most of the time they're just lost in their own battles. So he teaches us not to take things personally, to forgive, to stop holding on to resentment like a medal, to give people the benefit of the doubt, not because they deserve it, but because we deserve peace. Another theme that echoes through the book is the beauty of accepting what is. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means facing reality with open eyes and an open heart. He says if something happened, don't fight it. Learn from it. Like a sailor adjusting the sail, don't curse the wind. Use it. Let it guide you to calmer shores. And when the storms come, and they will, he says, remember this. Most of the things we fear never happen. And if they do, we are far stronger than we think. He tells a story of a woman who lost her child, a pain no mother should bear. And yet, instead of collapsing into sorrow, she chose to serve others. She began working in hospitals, comforting grieving families, and in their healing, she found her own. That, Carnegie says, is how we overcome the deepest worry, through love, through giving, through turning pain into purpose. And so, by the end of this book, you begin to see the outline of a new way to live. Not one without problems, but one without unnecessary suffering. You learn to pause before panic, breathe before blame, observe before overthinking. And most of all, you learn that life isn't waiting for you somewhere in the future. It's here, now, in the warm cup of tea in your hands, in the song outside your window, in the breath you just took without even noticing. I finished this book feeling lighter, not because all my problems disappeared, but because I realized I'm not my worries, and I don't have to carry them like they're part of me. So if you're listening right now, wondering if there's hope for you, there is. Carnegie's words are not magic, but they are medicine. Soft, steady, human medicine for the tired heart. And that, my friend, is why I had to share this book with you. My name is Nesi, and this is my podcast, The Gentle Nights. Each week, I sit with you like a friend with a soft voice and a full heart to tell you about a book that changed my life. If this one touched you too, you can explore more in the playlist called Famous Book Summaries, a collection of soul-soothing summaries I've shared with love. If you want to support this channel, just hit like, subscribe, or leave a comment. Every word you send back to me is like a candle lit in return, and I thank you for it. May your nights be lighter, your days more present, and your worries softer. Until next time.